From the Clark Ford Studio in Oxford, Mississippi, MBW Digital proudly presents the Oxford Exxon Podcast.
I'd say thanks for tuning in, but why am I going to give you a round of applause for something you're supposed to do, to be frank?
And now, here are your hosts, Chase Parham.
That broadcast school has really paid off.
And Neal McCready.
I deserve to be on TV.
Welcome to this Tuesday edition of the Oxford Exxon Podcast. Chase Parham, Neal McCready, Clark Ford Studio this morning. We'll talk a little bit of everything. We had a few different topics today, baseball, basketball, maybe find some football topics as we move on through this Tuesday morning. And a podcast brought to you every single day by the Oxford Exxon, Highway 6 West in Oxford. Blue Sky there on Highway 6. Go in, get your lunch specials, $4.99, two-sides bread, 32-ounce drink. Pick up some ribs maybe tonight if you want to get home. Not go to the game, but watch it on the ESPN3, the ESPN Plus. Maybe pick up some ribs. Call them ahead. They'll have them wrapped up, ready to go for you there at Blue Sky. And remember, Craddock Oil is the presenting sponsor of the FCA breakfast. That is April 27th at the Manning Center on the Ole Miss campus. The Kessinger family, the special guest this year. So you can get tickets and find out more information about that at OleMissFCA.com. Again, coming to you from the Clark Ford Studio.
We are. Clark Ford is in Amory, Mississippi, 662-257-1900's the number. Call the number. Ask for Corey Clark. Tell Corey what new Ford you are looking for. He'll send you a quote within 15 minutes in business hours. It's that simple. That's really all he asks for you to do. Call, ask for a quote. You think you're in the market for a vehicle? Ask for a quote. You think you might be soon in the market for a vehicle? You're not sure that what you want? Maybe you do want a Ford. Maybe you don't. Maybe you're not sure. Get a quote. That quote, at the very least, is going to give you a baseline moving forward, and it's going to stop you from getting screwed elsewhere, frankly. 662-257-1900. Get your quote, and then if you end up doing what I've done so many times, and that's go back to Corey Clark and the people at Clark Ford, know this: you're going to be thrilled with the service you get after the sale. You're going to be very satisfied with the way that they take care of you. Corey wants to be your truck guy. He wants to be your car guy. He'll prove it to you. Again, 662-257-1900. Tell him at the end of your deal that you heard about Clark Ford on the podcast, and you'll save $500. By the way, Chase, a little news real quick. I'll get it out. Just in case you're planning your day, the red-hot Ole Miss softball team returns to the Ole Miss softball complex Tuesday tonight at 6 p.m. to take on UT Martin. Admission is free. For more information, visit OleMissSports.com. And the Ole Miss baseball team back at Swayze tonight at 6:30. They host the Memphis Tigers. All kids 12 and under receive free admission. General admission tickets are available for purchase. For more information, visit OleMissSports.com.
Let's see. Start off just, I guess, a little bit of news today before we start to get carried away to a bunch of other topics. Ole Miss baseball, as you said, tonight. Swayze Field against Memphis, 6:30. Zach Phillips will make the start, his second consecutive midweek start for the Rebels against the Tigers. Ole Miss won earlier this year at AutoZone, so this is the second game, the home and home of that series between the two teams, separated by a short distance. So that tonight, and then Ole Miss obviously at Auburn this week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I'm pretty sure on that one. I'll check and be sure. A lot of games across the SEC today. If you're just curious, for one of the college baseball fans, want to just turn on some sort of good game. Louisville's at Kentucky, Clemson and Georgia, Auburn, Georgia Tech, North Carolina, South Carolina. You got several of the Power 5 schools playing each other, and Missouri playing Missouri State. A couple kind of high-level, low-level rivalry games as well. So that's going on. But nonetheless, for Ole Miss, you just got to keep winning these non-conference games. They've already lost 6. Don't need to lose 7. Don't need to lose 8. And they have a few tough ones left. The Governor's Cup still next week in Pearl, and then they go to Hattiesburg to complete that home and home. They also have a game with Arkansas State. So tonight, really one for the Rebels where I think it is important. I think it's a game that they need just to, frankly, get a little momentum back after the way Sunday went, go into Auburn on a pretty good note. But remember, because of the short series, because of when everything is going, they do not need to waste a ton of bullpen tonight. So Mike does have to manage that a little bit. He's got to be careful a little bit with the bullpen. You can't completely sell out and use up Parker Caracci for 4 innings or do something crazy like that. So you got to win, but there's a bit of restraint because no matter what happens tonight, Thursday infinitely more important than tonight against the Tigers.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like sometimes just because of the length of the season that sometimes these conversations almost become a little bit of broken records, even though they're true. You know, you've just got to win games. At this point, you're just trying to win games. If the obsession is, and I'm not saying it's bad. I mean, because this team not hosting a regional, no matter what happens, this team not hosting a regional is at least partial failure in that category.
Well, history says it's an incredible detriment, because I get that every season doesn't play into the next, but they've never gone to a super regional not hosting.
Yeah. So, you know, I mean, if this team hosts a regional, they accomplished in the regular season what they should have accomplished according to the preseason predictions and such. If this team doesn't host a regional, the regular season, at least something went wrong. It doesn't mean that you can't make up for it, blah, blah, blah. It just means that. So for them to host a regional, they probably don't have a hell of a lot of room for error anymore. But they are 9-6 at the break, and if they replicate 9-6 again, that's 18-12, and 18-12 probably gets the job done if you take care of the non-league stuff. So I know the second half of the season is much harder. That doesn't really seem to mean much with this team, because this team has beaten the good teams and lost to the bad teams. So who the heck knows? I mean, I can't even imagine what it's like for you, because I don't know anybody. Is the truth. I don't really have any Ole Miss baseball conversations. I know everywhere you go, people approach you about it. And I mean, it's one of those things. There's nothing really to say. You got to let the season play out.
Did you know that your Warhawks were a golf power? Did you see that?
You know, I've given a lot of money to the golf program over the last few years. I've done it.
Your love of ULM, your love of golf, really mingling together there in a very beneficial way.
Yeah, you know, I've met with the golf coach a couple of times because I'm such a donor, and I've told him, hey, listen, bud, let's get this under control. You know, let's get our short game going, and let's recruit the right kind of player, and I think the results speak for themselves.
Yesterday at Old Waverly, looking at the team leaderboard, it got brought to our message board. It was really the first place that I noticed it yesterday. In the field, Mississippi State, Ole Miss, number 4, Vanderbilt, a lot of other schools. ULM, the Warhawks, 22 under after 2 rounds, 278, 276, 554 total. They've got a 7-stroke lead over Vanderbilt. They've got an 8-stroke lead over Ole Miss, who's in 3rd place. They've got a 14-stroke lead over Mississippi State, who's in 6th. So for 2 days, they are rolling, and it's not on the water for once.
Yeah, I don't know that I can properly explain the emotion that goes through a ULM person when we see Vanderbilt. It's a rivalry that is it's deep, you know, because Vanderbilt loves to talk a lot about their academics and some of that crap, and frankly, it's just horse. You know what? Because we consider ourselves an academic institution of remarkable repute, and we just don't brag about it the way that.
And you probably don't have unlimited scholarships like the Commodores over there, because you know whatever they're doing in baseball, they're doing in golf too.
Yeah, no, and we play it by the rules, because that's the way we are. We're rule followers. In fact, that almost, when we changed the mascot from Indians to Warhawks, we almost changed it to rule followers.
Like a pocket protector in the pocket, and you.
Yeah, because we're so.
Hall monitor, if you will.
Yeah, absolutely. So no, a lot of this. I mean, I want to apologize to Ole Miss and I guess to Mississippi State for what's happening, but a lot of this is just pure motivation by Vanderbilt being on the course with us. Okay.
You also have a 34-shot lead over Louisiana Tech.
Yeah, we hate those bastards. I mean, God Almighty, but really, it's Vanderbilt. Just don't like them. If you drop Harvard or Yale on that course, this thing's over. We're the champs.
Okay. 3rd round today at Waverly. If you'd like to follow Ole Miss, you can do that on the site at OleMissSports.com.
One of the things that I did, and I do feel bad about this because I kind of feel like I'm taking food away from my family. You know, I cover Ole Miss, and I did get a scouting report on the Rebels, and I took that to Monroe the other day, and I sat down with the coach, and we kind of went through all of the different weaknesses of Malloy's team. And
you know they don't actually play each other technically, right?
Yeah, but I felt it was important to go over their weaknesses, and so we did. We went over those in detail. We watched film with the team, and I felt like I needed to help my alma mater, but then at the same time I felt bad because I like Malloy. He seems like a nice guy, and he's always been nice to me, and I feel bad undermining his tournament.
There are 15 teams in this tournament. Each one has at least 5 players, so that's quick math tells me 75 players. Can you name one player in this field? Any team, including Ole Miss?
Braden Thornberry?
No longer a college golf player.
Sherwood, Hopkins III.
Preston Prescott, something like that. Is that what you're thinking?
Preston, let's see, hold on. Logan Fitzsimmons Jr.
Okay. Fair enough.
I can name Malloy.
Okay. All right, sports world last night. I got a couple of topics, but looking kind of where we are on the clock a little bit. Last night, Cousins gets hurt in Golden State. They also blow a 31-point lead to the Clippers. It was 90-something to 60-something at one point. Just the math of it was fascinating to me because at the point that the Warriors had their largest lead, 0.01% chance of winning for the Clippers. They do, in fact, win. They get the lead with about 45 seconds left, something like that, and then win the game. Here's my point. And I understand Golden State doesn't have a lot of bench. I understand that with Cousins hurt, they're more limited than they would be with them. I get all that. It's still a 30-something point lead with essentially 18 minutes left. Explain to me, just in basketball terms, how that happens.
Well, it's two things. One, obviously the psychology occurred, which is Golden State turned it off. They thought they had it, and
well, they're up 31, yeah,
and they did, and they coasted a little. They get bored at times, and then two, the NBA is such a fast-paced game that when a team gets hot, you can take 10 off a lead really quick. You know, an 8-point lead with 2 minutes left at the college game is pretty much over. An 8-point lead in the NBA, it gets overcome all the time. But a 31-point lead, what happened was the Clippers started making buckets and made threes. I think they had,
the kid from Wichita went crazy.
Yeah, they had, I can't remember the numbers, 8 to 10 3-pointers in the second half alone. And then they have an advantage in the paint, especially with Cousins out. And this sounds like I'm biased against him, and I don't like him and all that. But Kevin Durant is playing with this weird emotional edge right now that is a detriment to the Warriors. It's not their style. It's not the way that they've played the last couple of years. It's not the way Steve Kerr coaches. It's not the way Steph and Clay and those guys play. And I know people don't want a long NBA thing, so I'm going to keep this short. They're as vulnerable right now as I've ever seen them. I still think they're going to win. They're obviously going to beat the Clippers. The Clippers are a really fun story because this team has no business in the playoffs, and Doc Rivers has just done a fantastic job. He really has. It's his best coaching job, and he's won a title before. But they'll win this series. They're going to get Houston in the next round, in almost certainly. Utah did not look good against Houston in game one. They're going to get Houston in round two, and if Cousins is out, and the rumor is he tore his quad, that's what Adrian Wojnarowski said, which means that he tore his quad.
That's basically the Bible when it comes to NBA, so sure.
So if he tore his quad, he's out, and they are very vulnerable against the Rockets if the Rockets are healthy. So we'll see. And, you know, I mean, it's been one hell of a dynasty, and it's coming to an end one way or the other. Durant's going to leave. I think they want Durant to leave. They don't play with the same. What's the term for joy of life? I can't think of it. There's a expression. They don't play with it the way they used to. The ball doesn't move the way it used to. Their chemistry is off. So we'll see. I mean, they'll beat the Clippers, but the Clippers showed last night that if you have an inside presence and you can shoot the three, you can beat them. And hello, Houston. Houston has an inside presence with Clint Capella, and they can shoot the three with Harden and Paul and some of the other guys on their team, and then they have some dudes who can defend you. So that will be an interesting series, and Golden State does not like adversity. They just don't handle it well, because I just am not convinced that team likes each other.
I'm not even a casual NBA fan. I'm really no fan at all. I don't watch anything, but I'm bored with Golden State. They've reached a point now where I just want somebody else to win. I don't care who it is. It's fine.
Yeah,
just anyone.
Well, I think you represent the majority. I think what happened is the way that the salary caps were manipulated to sort of make room for Durant to Golden State hurt the league, even though the league from a rating standpoint is thriving and all of that. I think when you go into a season and fans of 29 teams say, well, if the Warriors have a bunch of injuries, we have a chance. I don't think that's particularly healthy. I think you see that with one of the things about the NFL that makes the NFL as popular as it is that even though the Patriots win the Super Bowl every year, there's a sense around the rest of the league that, hey, my team can do it. If you're a Bears fan, my team can do it. If you're a Rams fan, well, my team can do it. If you're a Saints fan, my team can do it. Eagles, Vikings, there's Seahawks. There's lots of teams, Chiefs, that you go in the next season and you say, list to me the teams that have a chance to win the Super Bowl. And you can make arguments for what, 12?
Yeah, of course, sure. I mean, if you're in the tournament, you're in it, sure.
So if I say to you, today, make a list of teams that you think could win the World Series. Now, I know we're not talking baseball, but the truth is, you'd say, okay, well, in the National League alone,
I'd name 10 teams ish.
Yeah, in the National League alone, you'd say, well, the Braves, the Phillies, the Brewers, the Cardinals, the Dodgers, probably the Rockies. That's 6 National League teams, and that's not even listing teams like
the Cubs,
the Nationals, Cubs, teams that I guess conceivably could get hot and get in the mix. So it's not even listing the Padres, who I think lead the West right now, or the Mets, who with all their pitching. So that's my point. If you say going into this past basketball season, the one in the playoffs right now, hey, who can win the NBA Finals? Truth is, the honest answer is, well, the Warriors. And that's not healthy for the game.
Well, no, because the NBA, in my opinion, not watching, it thrives off a couple different things. It thrives off crazy athleticism. It thrives off a lot of shooting and offense and athleticism related to that. And then it thrives off the soap opera. And that's the free agency market. That's the off season. That's the season of attitudes and personalities mingling together. It's almost kind of like professional wrestling in a way, and you lose tons of soap operas when only one team can win. That takes away a lot of soap opera.
I completely agree. I think that's exactly the truth. They do as great of a job as any league of maybe the best job of any league of their draft build up. Like right now, Zion Williamson officially declared for the NBA, and so now we'll get months of who's going to win the draft lottery to get Zion, and people can say, well, that's boring, but it's easy to talk about. I mean, I can tell you that I was doing Memphis radio last week, and the Grizzlies have like a 9% chance of winning the draft lottery, which would mean getting Zion Williamson, and that's free talk radio. What would happen to the Grizzlies if they got the first pick? What would happen to the Grizzlies if Zion Williamson were in Memphis? That is free conversation.
Yeah, because I mean, and this sounds like a negative. It's not. It's a positive. The NBA over the last 20 years or so has done a lot of rule adjusting in every way, on court, off court, free agency, everything, to make their product more entertaining, which is a good thing. That's what they've done. It's become a more entertaining product because of every single rule change they've implemented.
Sure. And they're really smart about marketing. I mean, you watch the playoffs, the post-game shows with Barkley and Kenny Smith. It's award-winning television. Even if you don't like the NBA, that's a funny show. Barkley's really, really good. Shaquille O'Neal's really good. Ernie Johnson's one of the best studio hosts in the history of broadcasting. Kenny Smith's funny. They do a really good job. The NBA has a lot of personalities. They let those personalities shine. In post-game, there's not this attempt to make it super corporate. You get to know, Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid and Russell Westbrook and Steph Curry, and you get to know these guys. They're making sure they're making sure that people are getting to know Giannis Antetokounmpo and James Harden and some of these people, and it makes for those of us who follow the league, it makes it kind of fun. But from a competitive standpoint, the last few years, it's just basically been, will the Warriors stay healthy? And that's not good. It's why a lot of people are super excited about what's coming this offseason, which is the Warriors are going to break up, and you'll go into next season with, 6 teams in the West that have a legitimate chance, and now 5 or 6 teams in the East that have a legitimate chance, and then you're going to have a what appears to be the next marketable superstar on another team that's going to make them super relevant, whether it's Atlanta, the Knicks, wherever it may be. Wherever he goes, unless maybe it's New Orleans, he's going to make that franchise very relevant, and that's going to be fun. And the league's good at that, but from a competitive standpoint, it's almost been forced the last couple of years because the Warriors are just so superior to everyone else.
Yeah. Podcast brought to you in part by Community Mortgage, Oxford, Memphis, Soto County, and Chattanooga. All underwriting and processing is done in Memphis. They're getting local underwriting. It understands your market, a leader in condo financing in Oxford, and the float down option. So you can lock in the current rate, but if rates go down before you close, you get the lower rate. 662-234-2704 or JLOWE@communitymtg.com.
Guests join us on the Patterson and Earhart hotline. Patterson and Earhart, attorneys at law. They specialize in personal injury law and real estate law, but theirs is a general practice that can handle any of your legal needs. When you contact Patterson and Earhart, you speak to one of the partners in the firm, and that's who will handle your case, not some paralegal at a faceless corporate firm. John Calvin Patterson and Wes Earhart are Ole Miss guys. They're local guys, and when you call them, you're going to get one of them on the phone within the same day, guaranteed. So whether you've been injured in a car wreck or have other legal issues, give them a call, 662-526-1992, or check out their website, pelaws.com. Your initial consultation is free. This podcast also brought to you by Pinnacle Trust. Check out Pinnacle Trust 401k advisory services. Maintaining an appropriate retirement plan for your company often seems like a daunting task, especially when you consider everything else that goes into running a successful business. The Pinnacle Trust 401k advisory services provides plan sponsors with the expertise and consultation that they need to administer a retirement plan that inspires employees to reach their retirement goals. Pinnacle Trust Retirement Plan Advisory Team specializes in a variety of different plans, including 401k plans, 403b plans. They can help plan sponsors benchmark their 401k plan, consult on current plan designs, provide ongoing plan and investment fund reviews, manage employee communication and investment education, and conduct a plan sponsor fiduciary analysis. To learn more, go to pintrust.com. That's PINN trust.com. Mention that you heard about Pinnacle Trust on the Oxford Exxon podcast. You'll get 10% off your first year's fees. And we're brought to you by the Westin Jackson. My mailbag will be up tomorrow at some point, probably later in the day than earlier. But regardless, it's brought to you by the Westin Jackson. Restore serenity to your soul at Soul Spa. It's the ultimate luxury spa experience in downtown Jackson. And then gather at Estelle Wine Bar and Bistro. Sip on a creative craft cocktail. Enjoy their curated wine list. It's open for breakfast, lunch, dinner, and Sunday brunch. Chef Caden's mission is to connect guests with the community through local partnerships, so gather at Estelle tonight.
Podcast also brought to you by G&M Pharmacy and Tyson Drugs. G&M right there on South Lamar in Oxford. They deliver local to your home or workplace, and you can transfer your medications over easily. Just give them a call at 662-236-2222. They offer MedSync. They put everything on a schedule. They make prescription and all the different elements to that as easy as possible, and they offer the CBD oil we've been telling you about for a while. It is available in multiple different options, including soft gel capsules, topical salves, and more. It's an all-natural product that helps maintain overall health and helps regulate many conditions such as depression, anxiety, pain, insomnia, and more. It's FDA approved, legal in all 50 states, no crazy side effects. Find out more about that or purchase at G&M. Again, 662-236-2222. So
I got one for you. I got something for you. Breaking news.
all right. Okay.
Breaking news from ABC7. I don't know who that is. This has been a topic in my house recently.
Okay.
A new study, Chase, finds men with beards carry more germs than dogs. Researchers tested the facial hair of men and dog fur from various breeds, and they discovered that a significantly higher bacterial load is found in the men's beards compared to the dog's fur. Some of the men tested positive for microbes that actually posed a threat to human health. Experts say men should, at the very least, shampoo their beards regularly. So Laura, my wife, likes when I grow a significant amount of facial scruff.
Fix say you never go full anything.
No, I don't like the scruff. I don't like the way that it feels. It makes me want to claw at it.
But do you give it enough time where it would become normal for you, where it wouldn't make you want to claw at it anymore?
No, here's the bottom line. I don't want to get it. This is about beards or no beards. For me, I'm bald, and bald dudes with beards look like psychopaths. I mean, they just do. And I'm sorry if that applies to you out there. You're better off clean shaven. And a lot of times I think guys do it our age because they're carrying 20 extra pounds and the facial hair sort of hides the facial fat. I know when I get big that I kind of let mine grow a little more for that reason.
I think it makes you look even bigger.
Do you really?
Yeah.
Huh.
I do.
That's interesting because I see in my mind, like I see guys that wear a lot of facial hair, and I think they're trying to kind of, and I've done it too, so I'm not knocking. I get it. To me, it's like, well, if I wear a beard, you can't see the second chin.
Okay. I don't do it because it turns red. My facial hair is red, and that looks weird.
How often do you shave?
Oh, I'm basically a 12-year-old. I don't have to shave very often. I shave probably every 4 days.
Okay.
Something like that. I mean, more if I'm doing, you know what I mean? But I mean, yeah, if I'm just kind of around where I'm not worried about what it looks like, I can definitely deal with it for 3 or 4 days.
Yeah, I could grow a beard.
Yeah, see, I don't think... Mine would be it wouldn't be thick at all.
Yeah, and Laura tells
grow
me...
you a mustache. Go in the middle.
Oh, God. Laura tells me she thinks I'm better looking when I have facial hair. I mean, she's just been very frank about it. I
kind of get that, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I don't...
Just like kind of that 5 o'clock shadow, the little bit of just like writer's scruff, if you will.
Yeah, she says she likes that. So,
Okay.
So I sometimes attempt to pull that off, just to...
Well, yes, I mean, but pull back to your original point. Of course you should shampoo your beard. Duh. It's hair like anything else. Duh.
Yeah, I think the point is, like, when you get that beard thick enough, there's no telling what all's in there. It's a dirty world out there, bud.
Yeah, I'm not a big germaphobe, but for a lot of people, that one study would be enough to basically turn them off to beards completely. Like, I don't have hand sanitizer laying all around the house, but...
Yeah, I'm not a germaphobe, but I prefer things clean.
But you're not, like, shaking somebody's hand and immediately going, oh, my God, I've got to go to the restroom to wash my hands.
No, but if I shake a lot of hands, I do start thinking about I need to wash my hands.
Okay.
I do. It gets into my mind.
It's like there's not a dirtier, more disgusting place on earth as like the shared peanut bowl in a bar.
Yeah. I don't.
Like the pretzel bowl.
Now that is where I'm a germaphobe.
You won't just you won't just communal go in there and grab the peanuts and the pretzels and eat out of the bowl.
No. If there's anything resembling buffet style, I'm completely out.
Oh, really?
Yes, completely out.
Even just normal buffets places.
Yeah, even I'll give you an example. Like you know how at Ole Miss for football they kind of I caught myself just not wanting to touch it. I'll go get the coffee.
That's probably a little extreme. I get it, but that's probably a little extreme.
It probably is. It's the whole thing of I know that they have utensils out to pick up, but I don't trust people because I think some people have the social skills of a Labrador. I mean of like a lab, or like Gus and Rizzo ain't.
Let's be real. You'd actually trust the lab more sometimes.
Oh yeah, for sure. There's lots of people that I would trust my Labrador retrievers more than I would trust them for sure. But in terms of cleanliness with food and such, there are some people that have the manners of a Labrador. Just dipping their hand into it to grab a handful of stuff. It's like, whoa. Do you not see the utensil thingy right there? Because that's
well, see, you get put in the predicament sometimes because they don't give you the correct utensil for the job.
Yeah,
it's like where you're picking up potato chips, they hand you like a pasta, thing or something. It's like, well, what are you going to do with it?
That is nature's way of saying don't eat the chips.
Maybe so. Hey, that's a good point. Maybe that is some deal of, hey, you guys are all quite large. We're going to make this very complicated for you.
Yeah, that's my one of my goals for the coming football season is because I love those freaking chips. They're like I'm absolutely convinced that they're laced with like crack cocaine.
They're Frips. It's the one that I always talk about. I want with my burger at baseball that I keep griping and I cannot get it still to this day.
Yeah, they are cooked in an oil that is infused with an addictive drug. No doubt in my mind.
You think it's like that? McDonald's put sugar on their French fries to make them more likable.
Yes, and so my goal for this football season is to have 0 frips, not one, no frips, not one frip. Because my problem is I tell myself, all right, this is the only thing you're going to have. You're here for 8-9 hours, whatnot. We're going to have one bowl of frips, and then I end up going back and getting a second bowl of frips.
I never touch a frip.
I know you don't. I'm always so impressed with your willpower.
Now I'll eat on average about 3 cookies.
Yeah, that's not my weakness. Like I'll often go an entire season and not eat a cookie. But
I will eat chocolate chip or oatmeal raisin cookies.
So this coming season, my goal is to not eat anything at all at the football games that I don't bring in myself. And so hopefully the security guard won't be like, wait, what's this protein bar or whatever? I'm like, stop.
No, I think you're good there because at baseball I can basically take in any kind of food at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I can pack up Subway and take it in. I mean, Parrish Alford takes leftovers in like 4 days a week. It's all good. So
that's my goal.
Now, in saying that, the baseball people probably know us a little easier and a little less strict than maybe the football people, but you're probably okay.
Yeah.
You're saving them money, technically.
Yeah.
You're not eating their food.
I've brought in bottled water before, and they kind of looked at me funny. I'm like, come on, it's just a bottle of water. It's okay.
Well, it might have been vodka.
Ooh, I wish. There were a few times that it should have been vodka. That would have been smart.
You could get it in.
Oh, you could get it in. Just
don't be that guy, but you could.
Yeah. No, I'm never going to be that guy.
I mean, you don't need like pouring whiskey in your coffee at 11:30 for the JP game.
No.
I still call it the JP game.
It should be the JP game from now on.
Just the honorary JP game.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
There you go. Beards or no beards. Your beard is nasty. Know that going in.
Oh gosh.
I mean, at the very least, see, here's the thing. You only wash your beard when you shower. So should you take an extra time or two during the course of the day and wash your beard?
Well, no, it never says you should wash your beard 3 or 4 times a day. It just said don't go without washing your beard. I think there's some people who don't shampoo it in the shower.
Really?
Yeah, I think there's some people that don't wash their beard as much as they wash everything else.
Okay.
That's what I think.
As you might expect, the response to that
Is it met with venom?
it is met with quite a bit of venom. People get pretty worked up.
People don't like being told that anything they do is either abnormal or wrong in any way.
I know.
You're more comfortable basically being told what you're doing is wrong.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know. Yeah, I'm. It's a lot harder to hurt my feelings than it is other people. I've learned. I take insults better than most.
I was really proud of myself for asking for help yesterday and the help I received. I asked for a physical therapist on the message board yesterday, and I ended up just talking to a buddy of mine that's also one. But I also called a couple, answered a couple of the responses that I got, because I've got a foot ailment going on right now. And I don't know if maybe I'm self-diagnosing incorrectly. And I'm sorry, no, that's not correct. I did not self-diagnose. I don't know if I'm giving my ailment the correct amount of information to the person to let everybody know what's going on. Every one of them said the exact same thing was wrong with me. So I think I've got a pretty clear-cut case of what's actually going on with my foot.
What is the...
Everyone believes I have some level of Achilles tendonitis.
Ooh.
Yeah.
So what are they advising that you do?
Stretching before doing anything, icing after, and essentially trying to stay off of it a little bit from a real plyometric type standpoint.
So that's going to affect some of the things that you've been doing.
That is, I'm trying to figure that out right now because it's going to be a problem. So because I've noticed it is getting worse and worse and worse. Probably not every day, but weekly. I'm having more foot issues. Did
you have to adapt what you did yesterday?
No, I did. That was the problem. I did it yesterday normal, and then as soon as I got done, I was like, "Oh, this is not good. This hurts." And I started making some calls. I put the message board post up, and then suddenly it was like, "Okay, I've got." Because they told me, I asked my buddy. I said, "Look, am I going to snap my Achilles?" And he goes, "Well, no, but you are a little more predisposed to Achilles injuries now that you have this." Because he goes, tendonitis is still a very microscopic tear or injury to it, so. Yeah, it has me a little freaked out because you tear an Achilles, you're done.
You're done for a long time, and if you tear, is this your right foot?
It's my left foot.
That's somewhat of a positive, but it impacts your ability to do basic things like drive.
Yeah, Greg Kessinger's dad Kevin tore his ACL or his Achilles a couple years ago, and I remember seeing him in a boot for months.
Yeah.
So I'm a little freaked out. I'll be honest.
Well, I would suggest
that I think I need to take care of it. I don't need to let it run.
That is very mature on your part.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've got to calm down a little obsessive thing that I've got going on right now, which is
well, you're very OCD, so when it gets into your exercise and it latches on there, you do get very very obsessive.
Yeah,
and excessive.
What's happened with me right now is that I've got more energy than I've had in ages. And I'm like yesterday, I went upstairs and my intention was to do a 45-minute ride. And I did. And then I did another 45-minute ride. And then because my calorie count was not precisely where I wanted it to be,
my God.
I did 15 more minutes to get my calorie count to that point. And so for the third consecutive day, I spent 1 hour.
You're incapable of just following instructions, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm bad.
Just follow instructions. Quit overdoing. I mean, because here's what's going to happen. In like a month, you'll be like, "Oh, my body's hurting," and I'm like, "Well, no, like."
Yeah, and right now my body feels great.
Well, yeah, great. That's awesome. Thanks.
And so I feel like I'm like 20. And
we've spent 3 weeks arguing about just follow the plan. Just follow it.
And I am following the plan.
Then you're doubling it.
And then I'm adding, I'm at 2.5 timing it. Yeah. So anyway,
everyone remember this in like a month. Remember it. That's.
I was pretty pleased though. That's pretty strong when you, because everything with me is like, okay, well, how many miles would I have had to run to burn that amount of calorie?
Because you're still obsessed with calories in, calories out, and there's so much more to it than that.
And I'm doing the other stuff too.
I know, but
doing the other stuff too.
You can't get it through your head. There's more to it than in and out.
No, I do. I just know that. I just know the in and out's part of part of the equation.
Well, I mean, yeah, you can't go crazy on the in and nothing on the out.
I'm getting the out.
Okay. Just clarifying this from yesterday after we were not sure of all the numbers. It looks like Tiger did not blow everything away, but he did save CBS is what he did because of the change in schedule on Sunday. So Sunday's final round of the Masters, which was moved up several hours to avoid inclement weather, earned a 7-7 overnight on CBS, which is down 11% from last year, but it ticked up from 2017. However, remember, coverage began at 8 a.m. compared to 2 p.m. in previous years. It's also the highest on-record morning golf telecast in broadcast history.
Yeah, look, let's be real. You take Tiger Woods off of the out of the equation on Palm Sunday.
It did nothing.
It's a one.
It's a ghost town.
Yeah. It'd be
so
like
he saved CBS is what he did.
Yeah. Which makes you wonder what the hell would those numbers have been if it'd been Sunday afternoon.
Yeah. You would have had some really big numbers in the afternoon.
I mean, NBA Finals numbers, NFL playoff type numbers. That's what I'm guessing.
Yeah, it peaked at a number that was the highest, the highest since any point of any golf tournament since 2013, which also included Tiger Woods. So, yeah.
I tell you, you touched on this yesterday, and you're right. If you're golf, you're the people that run the professional PGA.
Yeah.
You're sitting down today, and at some point in the afterglow of the hot fantasy night that you just had, you've poured your coffee, and maybe you've got the Danish in front of you. You do have to have two conversations, right? One of, God, that was incredible last night, wasn't it, honey? And then after that is, well, what do we do going forward? Because he's not going to be there forever. It's kind of like the NBA during the peak of Michael Jordan. They probably had to say, God, this is great, isn't it? This guy just absolutely gets eyeballs. What do we do when he's human? What do we do when he's done? Well, if you're professional golf, you do have to have the conversation. Hey, this cat's 43 with the spinal fusion in his back. Whatever we get from him from now on, quite frankly, is gravy. What do we do to market the sport so that we don't fall off the earth when he's done?
And I really think the sport will be healthy. It's just not going to be healthy in the same way. It's going to be, I mean, we talked about this yesterday. It's going to be a niche sport, but they're doing a lot of things, and it's not necessarily them doing it. They're frankly screwing up a lot of stuff. But the players are so accessible to fans in every way. That's the key. You build fan bases by letting people in, by finding commonality with people. I mean, look, Tiger was a storm in all the positive ways for so many different reasons. Well, you can't replicate that. Frankly, there's probably not enough diversity out there, but there's no way to. That's got to be organic. You can't build that. You know what I mean? So I don't know, but I think they're fine. I think their thing is, hey, let's keep the charity money up, keep all the money up to keep all the TV contracts, to keep all the tournament contracts. Let's not start losing there. And then, frankly, you're probably just gonna have to be okay with the ratings diving down a little bit. And as long as CBS and NBC are good with you being what's filling that afternoon programming on the weekends when nobody's watching TV anyway, you're probably okay.
Yeah,
that's the catch.
Yeah, they just gotta keep doing what every other sport has to try to do, and that's you can't just. I'll give the NBA credit for this. At a time when they could have just gone, hey, we got LeBron, let's roll. They did make sure other guys got marketed.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, because LeBron's father times
in the next 5 years, probably ish, you're going to lose Phil and Tiger.
Yeah, and that's two guys that
the two most recognizable golfers for the average fan.
Two guys that carried a generation.
Yeah. Yeah. And still very relevant right now.
Yeah, I mean, Phil's video the other day was hilarious. I mean...
Yeah, the two things you take away from the Masters are Tiger Woods winning and Phil Mickelson's video.
Yeah, him driving in on Saturday. It was awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, I laughed. I mean, it was great.
Him timing that as soon as he pulled into his parking spot was maybe the best part of that video for me. He was perfectly timed to pull into his parking spot and then B, show you how close to the clubhouse he gets to park.
Yeah.
That's what Phil does.
He's a boss. Yeah. There's no question. He's funny.
He's in on the joke.
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah, it is good. I mean, if you're part of the joke and you can be in on it, then you win.
Yeah. Oh, gosh. Anyway. All right. ScriptedJewelry.com. Head to the website. Just check them out. You'll see plenty of options for Mother's Day. That is coming up very quickly. We need to remind Jeffrey, so he takes care of that when we have him on the show here in a couple days. Mother's Day deadline, April 25th with Scripted Jewelry. The turnaround times are great. They personalize things for you. They make sure the message you want to send is on the item that you prefer. You can shop, you get a sizing guide, you get a lookbook, you get much more, including what's been recently purchased around the country and even the world with Scripted Jewelry. Again, ScriptedJewelry.com, and save money in the process. Rebels 10, REBELS 10, to save 10% with ScriptedJewelry.com.
Podcast also brought to you by John Edwards, Regency Travel Incorporated in Memphis. If you've been thinking about that golf trip with the guys this summer, maybe you're thinking about a big anniversary trip, a holiday trip, starting to think about Christmas, that kind of thing, get in touch with John. He's part of Virtuoso. It's a worldwide network of travel partners that allows John to supply his clients with added values, unique benefits that are simply not available to other travelers. So whether you're thinking about going with the boys to Pebble Beach, taking her to Napa for the vacation of her dreams, call John, give him some parameters, give him a budget, let him give you some options, and know this, you don't have to live in or near Memphis to take advantage of his services. 901-494-3387, or send him an email, jedwards@regencytravel.net. First-time clients can save $50 off their first booked trip just by telling John you heard about Regency Travel on the podcast. It's a podcast that's also brought to you by Grenada Nissan. If you're in the market for a Nissan vehicle, look no further than Grenada Nissan. They've got a complete selection of new and previously owned Nissan vehicles, great lease deals as well. Go in, tell Gene and Sandy that you heard about Grenada Nissan on the podcast, and you'll save $500. I'm sorry, you won't save $500. You might save. You get, jeez. You might, because you get Rebel savings, and that might be worth $500 at Grenada Nissan. It's GrenadaNissanUSA.com. It helps to stay on the script sometimes. The podcast also brought to you by Harry Alexander. Harry is a Oxford-based RE/MAX Legacy Realty agent. He is also a big part of Savannah Square. It's a new 9-acre development, 0.7 of a mile from the Oxford downtown square. It is conveniently located east of North Lamar, just a short stroll from the Midtown Shopping Center, and a number of establishments there. Savannah Square will initially consist of 32 standalone detached structures ranging in size from about 1,100 square feet to about 2,400 square feet. The model home is located at 215 William Street. It's available for your inspection just by giving Harry a call. You can check out the model, get more information about this great new development while they are still available. You can view more at savannahsquareoxford.com or give Harry Alexander with RE/MAX Legacy Realty a call or text at 662-801-5621.
So, I'm going to use a specific thing here to get more general in this next segment here. I noticed this 19 hours ago. Ed Meek, former namesake of the Ole Miss journalism school, embattled, I guess would be a good word for him. He made a post on Facebook. It went public immediately, so it's not like breaking privacy by any means. Discuss it. It's all over our message board with plenty of thoughts. And I'm going to read it verbatim, and this is not really even about the post, but it sets it up. It sets up my thoughts. It says, Hunter Carpenter, UM alum from Dallas, emerging as a frontrunner for Ole Miss Chancellor. Hunter's an outstanding businessman who's just given great leadership to Ole Miss, especially in the University Foundation. He's a 4-year basketball letterman, MA in accounting. Currently holds board appointments or is a partner in 5 major firms ranging from investment management to petroleum and shipping. And he's a Sigma Nu brother. Check him out on LinkedIn. And links Hunter's thing. And this is not about Hunter Carpenter. Hunter, we've exchanged some emails. We've talked to him. He's been nothing but pleasant. It's been nice. This is not about Hunter at all. You remember Hunter from the PowerPoint thing. People have a lot of different interpretations on how effective or ineffective that was or how good or wrong that is. That's not the point either. the point I'm kind of making here is I still feel like we're playing this chess game for Ole Miss Chancellor where everyone's doing two things. They're lining up their candidates, they're trying to promote their candidates, and then C, they're getting these public reads on how possible it is for their candidates to get appeal and satisfactory responses from the Ole Miss fan base and the Ole Miss stakeholders and all this thing. Because we're in this weird part of this because it doesn't appear to have really even started yet. It doesn't appear to be anywhere near the meat of the search, if you will, for Chancellor. I don't know where the IHO is at the moment, but it doesn't appear to be there. And we just keep hearing names. We talk to different people, but I mean, once a week it's Hunter Carpenter, it's Gerard Gibbert, it's Greg Harper, it's Bobby Robbins, it's Chip Pickering. It's almost like right now, and it's not almost because it is, it's all this, hey, how would this candidate be played through the public? What would it be like? Can we push this person? Do we have to back off this person? It feels like everybody is so caught up in their own little section here for this war or battle or whatever you want to call it that's about to happen, because that's what it's going to be in a figurative sense. It almost feels like there's going to be this middle ground candidate that has to emerge because everybody on the outskirts is going to just kill each other, and it's going to be this carnivorous deal.
Yeah, I mean, look, full disclosure, you know a lot more people than I do when it comes to this kind of thing. I knew about Pickering before almost anybody in the early part of it, just because of people I know. I knew about Gerard Gibbert just because I've known them a long time. I don't really know about who the others are, if there are anything. Here's what's interesting to me is that one of the things that I was told, this was back in November, is that it might be late this summer before anything happens at all. And so it's certainly possible that some of what you're hearing right now is a combination of just when a guy runs for president or a woman runs for president, they form a team to sort of assess the viability of his or her candidacy.
Gauge the interest.
Yeah, just kind of like, hey, if we were to run, would we have a chance?
That's what this is right now.
That's what this kind of feels like. Is like you're sending some people out to Iowa and New Hampshire to go, hey, so what do you think about Senator Schmo? Kind of getting some thoughts where you can come back to the candidate and go, you know what, you'd have a chance in Iowa, which means you'd have a chance, or you know what, this is a waste of time and money. Your numbers are just too low. Or for you to win, you'd have to do this, whatever. That's what this feels like. And then it also feels like when there is no news.
Yeah, we're filling vacuum right now.
You just start throwing some stuff against the wall. Now, I think it's more the former than it is the latter, because I don't think some of these people are – I don't think some of the people that I've heard from, and you've heard from a lot more people than I have, are just wasting time making up stuff. Now, there are people out there who absolutely are making up stuff, but there are some people that are, I think, doing the other, gauging the viability of their preferred candidate, which is perfect. There's nothing wrong with it.
No. Yeah. You know, what's funny about it is this isn't anything. This is in coaching searches. This is in chancellor searches. This is in freaking relationships, boyfriend, girlfriend. You tend to trend toward the opposite of what didn't work last time. And it is what is creating this unique situation at Ole Miss where, because an academic didn't work in Jeffrey Vitter, and because you have a very conservative push to not right, wrong, indifferent, and that's not my point, to allow the school to not go any more left than it is from a reputation standpoint, from some of the things that have happened around the school from a PC standpoint, from a microaggression standpoint, a lot of that stuff. There's just a lot of emotion going right now, and because of that, my point being, you got Mark Keenum at State, who's somewhat of a non-traditional president, even though he does have an academic background that some people aren't necessarily aware of. You've got Vitter's struggles as an academic. My point being, it is right for everyone to kind of bring in their non-traditional candidate into this battle, into this appointment for the next Ole Miss Chancellor. So it allows tons of political maneuvering. It allows tons of business maneuvering. It really becomes this CEO position, but then you still got a lot of the people at Ole Miss and the faculty and all these things that want the academic again and go, well, just because Vitter doesn't mean that's not what we need for this spot. So that is what's creating so much of this chaos and so much of this plethora of candidates versus maybe if the last guy had failed, had been a former politician or been a CEO, a fundraiser type, you probably don't have this type of push because you probably would have everybody leaning more toward the, hey, we got to get somebody in here that actually understands university policy moving forward.
Yeah, and at the risk of getting into a what's wrong with Ole Miss thing, because I don't know. I don't know.
Well, and that's not the point. I mean, what people think and believe and what their motivations are is the point. It's not whether those are actually accurate or false.
Yeah, I think what is coming, though, is kind of a power struggle. Which and look, this happens everywhere. This isn't, it's going to happen in it happens in every major election. It's a power struggle. There's a little bit of a power struggle that I think is being set up between conservative and liberal, between older and younger. There's a lot there between. There's a lot of people that are talking about, what type of student Ole Miss should go after and all of those things. And what's interesting to me is that a lot of what's happening is a lot of the opinions that are being formed, at least in my opinion, frankly, are being somewhat informed without a full understanding of what's going on. It's kind of like when someone runs for president and they start getting their candidacy gets serious. And they suddenly have to learn a lot about what's going on in the world so that they can answer questions more educated than they have before. Their answers change, and I think that's a little bit of what's going to happen here when this thing gets real. When it becomes obvious that here are the 2 or 4 or whatever legitimate candidates, and those people start getting more legitimately vetted. It'll be pretty interesting to see the diversity of the candidacies. When I say diversity, I don't mean male, female, white, black, Hispanic, etc. I just mean
background.
I mean background and philosophy. Yeah. You can hire a person to be a chancellor of a university who doesn't have a tremendous amount or any amount of higher education experience if he or she knows how to hire the right people to do those things. In the same way that you can hire someone who, and Vitter's proof of this, you can hire someone who is absolutely qualified from a resume standpoint, who knows higher education, who understands it, knows how it works, who knows how to do the policy portion of the job, but doesn't know how to relate to the people the way that you have to. And you got to find that mix. And I don't know who that person is or isn't. That's where you know a lot more about who's a legitimate candidate than I do. I don't.
Well, and I don't know if I know that. I mean, I know people who want the job, which is not the same thing. Because my personal opinion on
that's significant though, because you know people who want to be the job, and I can't say that I do. I mean, I don't. I've never met Chip Pickering. I've only met Gerard Gibbert a couple of times, and I can't say that I know him that well. I wouldn't know Robbins at all. I don't know anybody, and frankly don't have those conversations. And other than a couple of conversations that I had back in the fall regarding my daughter, I mean, it sounds terrible to say, because I say this, and I'm not saying this as a cop-out moving forward, but I do feel like I have to say this to people. When like, well, you cover Ole Miss. I'm like, no, I cover Ole Miss athletics. And so I do know what's going on in athletics, but that doesn't mean that I know what's going on institutionally, because frankly, I don't.
I think all this comes down to a small personal opinion. I can be right, wrong, whatever. is that you just can't be a one-trick pony in either direction. You absolutely have to be able to fundraise and relate to people. 1A, A1, period. No matter what. You are the face of the institution, and you have to be able to present yourself in that manner, period. Fundraise and in PR and the face. You also have to at least have an understanding of how higher education works. Maybe that means a lot of history in it. Maybe it doesn't mean any history in it. But I do think you have to have an understanding of the bureaucracy, the nature of it, and sort of the system that is in place and how to navigate that. I think if you fail on either side of that, you're not capable of being a successful chancellor.
Yeah, Ole Miss is going to have somebody come in who is a unifier, someone who can come in and handle people who are upset about the direction of athletics, someone who is upset about the direction of academic recruiting. Those people exist. I do know that.
Absolutely.
You've got to have somebody who can come in and listen to those people and address those concerns. And then at the same time, you have to have someone who comes in who understands how higher education works, who understands that some of the politics and policies of it are just simply part of it, and it's part of the road that you must navigate.
And how to kind of slip through those avenues to get things accomplished.
Yeah. For sure.
Because look, this has all the makings of kind of a messy deal being possible. Not that it'll happen, but it being possible because, frankly, this university's had a leadership void for a while. There's so many different thoughts because there's been no unifying. There's been no leadership for so long through a lot of these things that have festered and boiled over because of the way they've happened and the way nobody kind of, put the fire out when there was a chance to put the fire out. And also the way that, and this is not about the IHL and the way they completely operate, but the IHL is seen as this very complicated entity, and it's seen as no one really understands it. So it gives such an easy way for misinformation. And look, I've been guilty of this too. I've been wrong on my thoughts on how some things worked, and I kind of learned later, if I'd have just kind of done some research, I'd have realized this is why this is, and this is why this is. Even from a funding standpoint, everybody goes, Ole Miss doesn't get this much from the government, and it's because of this, and it's because of this. Well, there's formulas in place, and the IHL is the only one that determines those formulas. So, yes, I guess my point being, you've got to have a little of everything because it's not as simple as, hey, we got to get somebody in there to kick ass and do this and do this. Well, no, there's a lot more of a systemic way to go about some of this, and I think that over time that's just created so much bad information, even if it's all not on purpose, even if it has all the best intentions when it happens, and it's just a convoluted mess. I mean, to kind of close it up, it is between athletics, academics, between thought processes. It's whoever gets the job is going to have certainly a full-time job on their hands, and I think they've got to have a pretty varied toolbox. I don't think you have a way to have a specialist in this position. They got to be pretty good at everything.
Yeah, they're going to have to be really good. He or she is going to have to be really good at public relations.
Yeah, no doubt.
At speaking and not just one-on-one, but to groups, to making people feel better. Because it's one thing to say, we're gonna hand this big club to somebody to walk in and just bloody it up right off the bat. It's typically not what happens. But you got to have somebody who makes people feel better about things.
Yeah.
But I will say this: the people that do the whole oh God, Ole Miss is dead, or it's crap. Nah, I mean, most places are cyclical, and if Ole Miss has been on a down cycle, that almost certainly means that it's going to go on an up cycle soon, in much the same way that if you see an institution just soaring for a little while, there's probably a downtick coming. It's almost always that way. Maybe that's the pragmatic part of me that coming out, but I do think there have been some overreaction of opinion from people over the last couple of years, and I'm a big believer in things are never as bad as they seem, and they're usually never as good as they seem either.
Yeah. Podcast brought to you in part by Mastercuts Lawn and Landscape. But that Mastercuts provides premium lawn care throughout northern Mississippi. Did you know they also offer a lot more? They build custom playgrounds, retaining walls, pool decks, outdoor living spaces. They even do lighting, paver patios, forestry mulching, and much more. The path to your dream backyard, easier than you think. You can visit them online at gomastercuts.com for a free quote, or you get that same free quote and talk to somebody in person at 662-607-8255. 888-866-7773. Again, gomastercuts.com.
Podcast also brought to you by Oxford University Bank, OUB, locally owned and operated right here in Oxford. When you deposit money at OUB, that money and the vast majority of the bank's profits go right back into the Oxford community. OUB gives you the comfort of home, all the benefits the big mega banks provide, all the technology and products you can want, all with a personal touch. They also give you a commercial checking account that's now paying 1% interest as long as you keep $10,000 in the account. It comes with fully interactive online banking. They can set up any local business to deposit checks from their office and not have to worry about coming to the bank daily to deposit those checks. More than likely, any business owner at another bank is now paying a monthly fee for their account, and they are most assuredly not making 1% of their money. To learn more, go to liveoxfordbankoxford.com or call 662-234-6668. OUB is FDIC insured. We're also really excited to invite you to Blue Delta Jeans on the Squares. And Blue Delta Jeans' 5-year anniversary party. It's on the Square in Oxford, Sunday, April the 28th, getting closer. Join the great people of Blue Delta Jeans for music, complimentary Bloody Marys and Big Bad Breakfast biscuits, and blue jeans from 10 to 2. You can get a fitting right there if you so choose, because you'll get a chance to check out their spring summer line of denim and Holland and Cherry. So you can check that out, and if you feel inspired to get a fitting of your own, you can trust both Chase and myself when we tell you that you won't regret it. You'll absolutely love your Blue Delta Jeans. It's a private event. Blue Delta Jeans is inviting all of our listeners to, so go follow Blue Delta Jeans on Instagram and Twitter, either one, and RSVP through their direct messages, or you can send them an email. It's info, I-N-F-O, at bluedeltajeans.com. Let's let them know you're coming. Give them a phone number. Tell them how many people. And you'll be on the list to be one of the cool kids on Sunday, April the 28th on the Square in Oxford for Blue Delta Jeans' birthday party. It's Bloody Marys, biscuits, and blue jeans on the Square.
So did you see this in Starkville over the weekend where the bar and the people in the bar were fighting over tornado shelter?
No.
You didn't see this? All right, I'll read some of the story here just to make it as concise as possible, because they'll do a better job writing it than I would be trying to tell it just from reading it once. It said the Starkville Police Department has released a recording of a 911 call concerning a fight between security personnel and people seeking shelter from a tornado at a restaurant and bar on Saturday night. Saturday was Super Bulldog weekend, and many people were enjoying festivities in and around campus. As the tornado was reported to be heading toward campus, people sought shelter at some businesses off campus, but a restaurant and bar, Ben 612, located at 612 University Avenue, 612, whatever, decided to close, and security ordered people to exit the building. Starkville police received a call at 10:31 p.m. that approximately 100 people were trying to fight security from leaving the building and trying to stay inside. After arriving at Ben 612, an officer observed a fight and intervened, SPD said. Officers used pepper spray and physically subdued a man. He received medical attention and was later released from the scene. Owner Ty Thames said that released a statement Sunday addressing the incident. First and foremost, we're very thankful no one in the Cotton District or anyone else in Starkville was injured last night due to the weather. The restaurant has wall-to-wall glass windows, and the majority of the seating is on the outdoor patio, and indoor area has a capacity of 99 people. There's no adequate indoor shelter space for what was in excess of 250 people. Said that blah, 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 da-da-da. They were trying to close before the tornado hit. And then said Starkville Police Department said it did not initiate an evacuation, however, of that building or any other buildings in the area. A video allegedly recorded inside the restaurant during the incident was shared on social media. Be aware of the language. Whatever. That's it.
Oh,
Interesting deal there.
It is. I mean, I joked earlier about the rule following and stuff. Sometimes the rules have to be bent. A tornado coming through town is a time to bend the rules.
Well, his argument is they were potentially less safe here because there's nothing but glass that's going to shatter everywhere. I'm not saying he's right or wrong, but that was the argument, was that we've got nothing but outdoor patio areas, and inside that is nothing but covered by plate glass.
Yeah. Bottom line is, in that situation,
before we got to that point, get the heck out of there.
Yeah, when you see the tornado coming, maybe it's time to stop the party.
Yeah. There's actually some middle ground there both ways that I'm not sure exactly what I think. I'm not all or nothing there either way, I don't think. Contracts, this happens all the time in the NFL because of the guaranteed money versus the total contract money. Russell Wilson, now the top paid player in the NFL.
I saw where he announced that he had a deal while laying in bed with his wife. Did you see that?
I saw a screenshot. I have not seen a video.
Yeah, the video's kind of
weird.
Okay. Yeah, kind of weird.
Yeah.
As a rule, it's just not something you do, I think. And I do question whether he sleeps with all those chains around his neck.
Yeah, I have a feeling that entire thing was kind of scripted. Just a thought.
Yeah, I'm just going to guess that he doesn't sleep with the chains around his neck. But they wanted to make it sound like they were still real sleepy and they were getting ready to go to sleep and stuff. And I don't know whether other things were implied or not. I'm not sure. It's.
Did you infer those things?
I'm not sure. There was possible inferences that were made, but I could be wrong and don't care. But yeah.
Did you read about your boy Zambrano?
Carlos?
Yeah.
No.
Former Chicago Cubs pitcher Carlos Zambrano said he thinks he can overcome his age, his reputation, and a long Major League absence to make it back to the big leagues. Why not? Zambrano said Monday from Marlins Park, where the Cubs are playing this week. Bartolo pitched until he's 45. I'm 37. According to the Sun-Times, Zambrano showed off an email from the independent Chicago Dogs that welcomed him to this season's team. The Dogs play in the American Association of Independent Professional Baseball. Season starts May 17th. The Chicago Sun-Times says that Zambrano says he had a, quote, encounter with God that brought him back to baseball.
Well, we will let that be the crap take of the day. It is brought to you by Scoopers Pet Waste Removal, LLC. Everyone loves their pets, but no one loves stepping in their pets' stuff, if you will, and tracking that stuff into your house is a nightmare. We've all been there. So Scoopers can alleviate the problem. They'll go into your backyard, apartment complex, or condominium, and pick up what no one really wants to pick up. For $10 of cleaning, Scoopers will clean up your yard, and they'll do it on your schedule, whether that's bi-weekly, weekly, or on a one-time service. No contracts are required. You can cancel at any time. If you have multiple dogs, it's just $2 for each additional dog. So if you're in Oxford and you own a home, a condo, or an apartment complex, and you'd like to deal with a lot less crap, call Scoopers, 662-506-2754, or simply send them an email at scoopers.oxfordpetwaste@gmail.com to get your cleanings scheduled today. Scoopers Pet Waste Removal, they're number one in your pet's number two business.
Zambrano hasn't pitched in the big league since 2012, but from 03 to 08, he won double-digit games each season, leading the league with 16 in 2006. He has a career 3.66 ERA with 1,637 strikeouts.
Threw a no-hitter once against the Houston Astros in Milwaukee.
Okay.
Hurricane caused that game to be relocated, and Zambrano threw a no-hitter. Yeah, he was once really good, but that once is past. He never took care of his body the way that major league pitchers need to take care of their bodies, and he broke down, and he's a colorful character, and he's funny, but there's no chance that he's pitching in the bigs ever again.
Zambrano played in the Mexican League last year. Fastball topped out at 89. In the Winter League, he said he hit 94.
Yeah, and I hit 92.
You don't believe he threw 94 miles an hour?
I don't. I believe that he might have hit 88, 89. I don't believe that he threw 94 at 37 with his physique. I don't. Nope, I don't.
Okay. Said he can handle himself now.
Yeah, he was never as crafty a pitcher as Bartolo. People talk about Bartolo Colón, and it's funny, and, you know, he's fat and all of that. But Bartolo Colón was always a very crafty pitcher who really understood how to pitch. The same could never be said about Carlos Zambrano. There was a time in his career when he had electric stuff, and he could get on a roll and beat you. But he was never crafty, and teams got to him emotionally. And I like Carlos Zambrano. He's a funny guy. I've met him. But his his legacy is that of a guy who did not fulfill all of his potential.
Last thing, I saw where Tim Hudson is back at Auburn getting his degree. Did you cover him?
No, he was right before my time.
Okay.
He and David Ross and them played like on the last team before I started covering them.
The World Series team.
Yeah, I covered them starting in '98, and I think that was '97.
Yeah, I think that's right. Seems like '97's when maybe 4 SEC teams went to Omaha. Because I think that's the year Alabama and LSU played in the finals.
I think that's right. Alabama had that was Jim Wells and all of them. That was just before I started covering. I was living in the state at the time, so I remember it, but I was not covering.
Yeah,
I was not even covering sports. I was covering crime and stuff.
Gotcha. All right, no podcast tomorrow. Be back Thursday and Friday. We are speaking to America's youth tomorrow. People actually allow us to do that, so we will be doing a couple hours of that.
It's the American dream.
Filling their heads full of all kinds of stuff. So anyway,
if you think that you think your life is meaningless, look at us. Look, the two of us. They requested us. We're not like taking someplace hostage. We're not breaking into a building and speaking to people. We were requested to come speak to America's youth.
2 different times in one day.
Yeah, we're going to talk to 2 different groups of young people.
Yeah. So
we're going to make the world a worse place tomorrow.
Yeah. So back on Thursday, plenty at rebelgrove.com in the meantime, and we'll talk to you then.